Welcome to STEMBoT.
Welcome to STEMBoT. STEMBoT is a bi-monthly podcast intended to bring science,
technology,
engineering,
and math
straight to your ears from our STEMBoT studio. Hang on, we'll take you for a ride that includes a whole lot of fun and a little bit of education on the side. Stay tuned.
Nice to be in orbit.
Welcome to the STEMBoT podcast. My name is Joe Garoot, and I will be your host. And with me, as always, is my buddy STEMBoT. Hello, STEMBoT.
Hello, Joe.
Today we're going to respond to a listener and do an episode by request. Theresa D asked if we could debunk some commonly held scientific myths. That came out of a conversation online about the impact of using a cotton shopping bag versus a plastic bag. Theresa was surprised at what she learned, and you may be too. We'll talk about the whole conundrum before we're finished today.
A conundrum is a confusing and difficult problem or concern.
Yes, STEMBoT, and that shopping bag issue is just that. To tackle Theresa's suggestion, STEMBoT and I had to dig around a little bit on the net. While all of these items that we found may not exactly be scientific myths, we are going to use science to discuss them. Let's talk about a few things that maybe you thought you knew, but may not have really had all the info about. For example, I was always told that breakfast was the most important meal of the day.
There are studies that show just that, Joe.
But STEMBoT, you're also aware that there are studies that show it is not as important for some people. It seems that it depends on what you're defining as important. In a study about weight loss, there is evidence to suggest that intermittent fasting, which you would be doing if you occasionally skipped breakfast, would be one thing that could help you lose weight. Contrary to what I was told, eating breakfast does not kickstart your metabolism and therefore start burning calories.
In addition, in the study I'm referring to, when children eat a balanced breakfast, they exhibit better classroom performance, better focus, better attendance, endurance, and creativity.
How do you define balanced, STEMBoT?
In this context, it is a mixture of protein, fiber, and complex carbohydrates.
So I guess the bottom line is that unless you're a kid who should be given every opportunity to succeed, you can make your own choice about breakfast based on what works for you. If you're not hungry, don't eat breakfast. I myself love having a good breakfast to start my day. Okay, I've got another one. I was always told that if my feet were cold, I should put a hat on.
Oh, Joe, if your feet are cold, put on some socks and shoes.
STEMBoT, I mean when I already have socks and shoes on. I was told that I lose most of my body heat through my head, like 80% or something.
Well, an old manual released by the U.S. Army in 1970 stated that 40 to 45% of body heat was lost through your head. We have since learned that it is nowhere near that amount.
Well, that makes sense, since our heads are only about 10% of our body's total surface area.
Yes, Joe, you are right. If your head lost the high percentage of body heat you mentioned, that would mean it is losing approximately 40 times more heat per square inch than every other part of your body.
So really, it's a matter of covering up whatever portion is exposed to keep the heat in. The head isn't necessarily more important.
Exactly.
Well, how about the fact that you sleep warmer when you sleep without clothes?
The fact, Joe? According to whom? Since layering to stay warm is an important factor at any time, having loose-fitting dry clothing on will actually keep you warmer when you sleep.
Oh, okay. And again, if my head is cold, I should just put on a hat?
Correct! There are, however, health benefits to sleeping without pajamas on when temperature isn't a factor. They are...
Hold on, STEMBoT. Let's put this in the show notes. We have other topics to get to.
Oh, rightio.
Let's get to the question that got us here in the first place. STEMBoT, which is better to use when shopping? A plastic bag, paper bag, or cotton bag?
That is a complicated question, Joe, and has no quick answer. Plastic bags have less impact environmentally to produce than all three, but they never biodegrade. Paper is next, but is harder to reuse. You might tear that bag. Cotton bags, and particularly organic cotton bags, have the highest environmental impact to produce, but have the longest reusable lifespan.
I came up with the same thing. I read that I would have to reuse an organic cotton bag 20,000 times to have the same cumulative environmental impact as a plastic bag. This is, of course, not taking into account that the plastic ends up in landfills and oceans and is a giant problem in its own right in so many ways. But we're just looking at the manufacturing impact as we take in all the data. Paper is also a drain on resources to produce, but at least it will not end up damaging the ecosystem after it makes its way into the waste bin. Like many things, being informed is what is going to make the biggest impact. If you already have a reusable bag, great. Use that until it wears out. In fact, use whatever bags you have until they wear out. That is the best scenario. It is of more importance to decide what you put in it, like not buying things in plastic containers or single-use items, and also how you transport those bags around. If we bike more, for example, or drive petroleum-powered vehicles less, we can make an even bigger difference than what bag we shop with. STEMBoT, I do have a couple other fun things to add in here. Do we have time?
Sure, Joe. It's your show.
Well, I guess that's true. The term blind as a bat is bunk. Not only do bats have echolocation, but their eyesight is 3 times better than human eyes. I also found that using oil to keep my pasta from sticking only makes it greasy, and the oil actually prevents whatever sauce I'm putting on my pasta from clinging, and that's what I want.
I have one for you, Joe, since you like coffee so much.
Oh, great. Now we're talking. And folks, we are going to do a coffee episode later on this year. All right, STEMBoT, what is it?
Did you know that most commercially ground coffee, the kind that comes in a can, often includes a percentage of cockroaches and other bugs?
Oh, STEMBoT, what? I can't unhear that. Jeez. I'm glad I buy whole beans from a local roaster.
That is indeed the way to ensure you get the best coffee, Joe.
Whew, okay then. Well, after all that, I guess it's time to say goodbye, STEMBoT. You've clearly contributed enough for today.
Goodbye, STEMBoT.
Thank you for listening to the STEM Punks podcast. Many thanks to our sponsor, Cottywomple Creative. You can see their work at cottywomplecreative.com. And thanks to our patrons on Patreon. Without you, this show wouldn't be possible. You can find information about this episode and more at stempunks.com. That's STEMPUNX.com. Thanks so much for listening. Bye now.
Bye now.